Okay, we're live now.
Looks like we have one watching so far.
Do we want to wait or do we want to start?
Yeah, but I will let people know, two now. I will let people
One of
know
those
that
might be
we,
Me.
oh, okay, that's fine.
Three. There's my phones.
Okay. So Zach, how will we know if those two, that it says two watching now, how will we know if that's you and me?
I mean, if we're on the live stream right now, then it is you and me.
Okay, that I figured that was the process of elimination, but I wasn't entirely certain.
YouTube doesn't have any like utilities to figure out otherwise.
Okay. I am putting the note in Spanish that we also have, not that there's anyone on, but in case we do.
People who join late should also see the chat
Okay.
already.
Great.
So
Okay, so now there's a third, so it does look like we have somebody else. So they are seeing the chat that we were starting shortly.
You want to start at 7:05?
That sounds like a good call.
Okay, are we ready?
I think so. I say we go for it.
Okay. Good evening, Greenburgh community. This is the 2022-23 budget presentation. Central administration has built this budget addressing our students' needs and being cognizant of the local, state, and national economies that would impact our taxpayers. Zach, it won't advance.
oh, it that's
It
weird.
did before.
Go down to click the presentation itself.
Yeah, nope, it's not doing it. Oh, it just did.
Oh.
Okay. We will start with an overview of the tax cap calculation. The tax cap begins with the tax levy passed for the 2021-22 school year, which was $62,453,090. To this figure, you apply the tax base growth factor, which is a measure of the change in real property value due to construction and capital improvements of real property within our district. For this calculation, that was 1.0147 as provided by the Office of Real Property Taxes, which was an increase from this year's growth factor of 1.0089. You then add the payments in lieu of taxes, also known as pilots, which are payments that a company or developer agrees to make to the school district instead of paying property taxes due to the tax exempt status of that property. We then subtract any capital tax levy exclusions, which would be any debt service payments the district has, or BOCES capital expenses that the district is liable for. Currently, the Greenburgh Central School District has no debt service for construction, but does pay a portion of Southern Westchester BOCES, along with other schools in Westchester County, for capital expenditures, which was $37,825. To this total, you apply the allowable levy growth factor, also known as the Consumer Price Index, or CPI, which is used to measure the change in the cost of basic goods and services. A district is only allowed to apply, by state education law, the lesser of CPI, or 2%. This year, CPI was 4.70%. Therefore, the district is restricted to the cap of 2%, which is converted to 1.02. The pilots expected in the 2022-23 school year are subtracted, since these companies will not be receiving a tax bill, but will be making a contribution to the tax base. If the total property taxes levied in the 2021-22 school year were less than the tax levy limit, a school district is permitted to carry 1.5% of the prior year levy limit without exclusions. This amount is $952,891 and is provided to us by the Office of the State Comptroller. The capital levy exclusion for 2022-23 is the obligation the district has for the Southern Westchester BOCES capital portion of the budget. Since this is a known obligation, we need to add this back. To remain within the simple majority of 50% plus one positive vote, the district could levy up to $65,599,068. In the green shaded box, you will see that we are proposing a tax levy of $63,369,015, which is significantly below the tax levy limit. We are proposing an increase of $915,925, which is a 1.47% increase. The revenues include the tax levy, which is the largest of all revenues, and again is $63,369,015 and represents a 1.47% increase. The next largest revenue source is state aid. This school year, the state legislature has restored part of the long withheld foundation aid to school districts. The district also maximized its use of expense-driven aids, such as BOCES, to offset costs, which result in an increase of $325,569. The other revenues are categorized as miscellaneous, which includes sales tax, tuition, health and welfare billing, interest income, Medicaid, and prior year refunds. We have increased this amount due to the sales tax we collect from Westchester County. We are also applying $2 million from fund balance to this budget. This gives us a proposed budget of $74,547,968, which is a little more than $1.5 million increase from this school year. In the 2021-22 school budget, we proposed repurposing monies to go into the capital fund for phase 1 construction, which was approved by the taxpayers. For the 2022-23 budget, we are proposing a transfer of excess fund balance from the 2020-21 school year to also be placed in the capital fund for needed mansion repairs. There will be no impact to the taxpayers for these funds, since they were included in previous approved budgets. There are 6 major functions of the budget: general support, instruction, pupil transportation, employee benefits, debt service, and interfund transfers. This chart summarizes those expenses by each category to show a proposed budget before the transfer of excess fund balance to the capital fund. With the transfer, the budget will be $75,974,242. At this point, we will get into more detail for each of these functions. The general support function is for expenses for the Board of Education, central administration, operations and maintenance, some technology, and special items such as legal services, insurance, and BOCES administrative costs. The total general support for the 2022-23 school year is $8,920,028, which is a 2.46% decrease from this school year. The decrease represents salaries and refund of property taxes since payments come from the tax certiorari reserve. The largest of the functions is for instruction. This includes the curriculum office, all principal offices, regular instruction, special education, instructional support, which includes summer school, technology, library, and educational TV. Pupil personnel services represent our psychologists, social workers, guidance counselors, and health services. The district will be investing in restorative practices, which would be a system-wide approach to building and strengthening relationships between staff and students. We have prioritized student achievement, social and emotional learning, including wellness, through restorative practice programs and curriculum that will incorporate and teach strategies to address various behaviors. To support these practices, we have included 3 new positions: a math coach, a literacy coach, and a resource room teacher. The next function is transportation. Our contracted transportation transports all of our students to all 5 of our school buildings and also includes transportation to private placements, BOCES, and private schools. Currently, we transport approximately 460 students to 65 different schools. We are proposing an increase of 4.09% for the 2022-23 school year. The next function is employee benefits. This includes the teacher retirement system, the employee retirement system, which both will increase next school year, Social Security, all insurances, and the Union Welfare Fund. The estimated increase for health services is 7%. The budget reflects just over $1 million increase in benefits. The last 2 functions are debt service and interfund transfers. A tax anticipation note is a municipal bond, usually with a maturity of less than 1 year, issued on the assumption that the debt will be paid back with future tax revenue. School districts issue these notes usually at the start of the fiscal year to maintain appropriate cash flow to pay immediate or time-sensitive obligations. The interfund transfers are for the federal funds and for the capital fund. We are proposing to transfer $1,300,000 to the capital fund for 2 gym floor replacements and the fire hydrant work that needs to be done at the Woodlands campus. The next slide shows the budget by object. Objects are identified as salaries and benefits, equipment, supplies and textbooks, contractual expenses, tuition, BOCES, debt service, and interfund transfers. You will see that salaries and benefits are the largest expense of any budget. There is also a large decrease in contractual expenses because these are now going through BOCES. As you will see, there is an increase in that line, so we can maximize our BOCES aid for future revenue purposes. By law, the district must divide their budget into 3 components: administrative, program, and capital, and must show how each component has increased compared to the total budget. The administrative component includes expenditures for office and administrative costs, salaries and benefits for certified school administrators and their office staff, data processing, public information, legal fees, insurance, and school board expenses. For the 2022-23 school year, this component is increasing by 3.58%. The program component is the largest of all the components, as it should be for instruction of our students. It includes salaries and benefits of teachers, teacher assistants, teacher aides, instructional support staff, and pupil personnel. Other instructional costs such as supplies, equipment, textbooks, co-curricular activities, interscholastic athletics, staff development, tuition, and transportation are all budgeted here. This will also include the federal interfund transfer. For the 2022-23 school year, this component is increasing by 2.53%. The capital component covers tax certiorari and court-related costs, all facility costs, including salaries and benefits of our custodial staff, service contracts, maintenance supplies, equipment, and all of our utilities. It also includes the capital interfund transfer. For 2022-23, this component is decreasing by 1.44%. This is because we have transferred costs to BOCES again to maximize our revenues. We show the repurposed interfund capital transfer and the excess fund balance transfer, since this would fall under the capital component as a separate item, since it will have no impact on the taxpayers. Under New York state law, a school board can submit a budget to voters 2 times. If the proposed budget is defeated twice, the board must adopt a contingency budget. Under a contingent budget, the district may not increase the tax levy from the previous year. Therefore, we would have to decrease the budget by $915,925. All non-contingent items must be removed from the budget, which includes most equipment, salaries that are not covered under a collective bargaining agreement, and capital interfund transfers. A contingent budget would be $74,674,272. This slide shows the estimated impact to taxpayers. Recently, the town of Greenburgh did a reassessment of properties, as well as the sale prices of homes have increased. This combination increased the total assessment of the town. The average assessment of a single-family home increased by approximately $59,000. The average tax increase is approximately $494. And as a reminder, the budget vote is May 17th from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. at the Woodlands Middle High School Gymnasium. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Nothing so far. Looks like 4 people are on. I think we'll give it maybe 1 more minute, but doesn't look like we're getting any in either English or Spanish. Lisa, I would say maybe just give a reminder about the email to which people can
Yes.
send questions, and
Thank
then
you.
we can wrap it up.
Great, thank you, Jackie. If anybody thinks of any questions after this presentation, you can contact me at budget@greenburghcsd.org. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you on May 17th at the Woodlands Middle High School Gymnasium.